titled The Courage to Live in This Very Moment. Introduction. We are always waiting for the weekend, waiting for the next chapter, waiting for someone to understand us, waiting for the pain to end. But in the middle of all that waiting, life is happening right now. In this very moment, how often do we forget that? How often do we place our happiness in the future or bury our pain in the past? The courage to live in the now is not about forgetting. It's about remembering what's real right here, right now. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Someday. Someday is a dangerous word. It gives us hope, yes, but it also delays life. We tell ourselves, someday I'll be happy, someday I'll take the trip, someday I'll rest when everything is done. But life never gets completely done. There is no perfect moment, only this one, the one you are living in. The more we wait for the perfect time, the more we miss the magic of now. The sky that's quietly turning gold, the breeze that's brushing past your cheek, the stranger who smiles at you for no reason. Living now is not about being reckless, it's about being present. Chapter 2. Fear keeps us in the past and future. We revisit our past to find explanations. We imagine our future to feel in control. But both are built on fear. Fear that we are not enough. Fear that something bad will happen again. Fear that will be forgotten. Living in the moment takes courage because this moment it's unpredictable, it's low, and it's real. When we stop trying to control everything, we allow life to breathe. We give ourselves space to just be. Chapter 3. Slowing down. Modern life teaches us to rush, to hurry toward goals, achievements, and fancy lines. But why? Why are we running? Where are we going so fast? Are we afraid of silence, of being alone with our thoughts? When we slow down, the world becomes sharper, colors deepen, voices become softer. We begin to hear what our hearts have been whispering all along. Chapter 4: The Power of Small Moments. The courage to live in the moment is found in the ordinary, in morning coffee, in the laughter of a child, in the quiet satisfaction after cleaning your room, in the deep breath you take when you are overwhelmed. These moments are not fillers, they are the story, the real story, and they are enough. Chapter 5: Letting Go of What If. What if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? What if they leave me? We live in what ifs, and forget that none of them have happened yet. And even if they do, we face them when they come. Courage is choosing to show up today despite all the what ifs. Courage is knowing that you can't control tomorrow, but you can love today. 6. Breathing in now. Breathe right now. Feel the air enter your lungs. Feel your feet on the floor. You are alright. This isn't just a breath, it's a reminder that this moment is yours. No one else can live it for you. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. You just have to be here, and that is already enough. Chapter 7: The present is a gift. They say the present is a gift, and yet we treat it like something temporary. We rush past it, dismiss it, try to skip it, but the truth is, this moment is all we really have. Memories fade, plans change, but right now is real. It's the only place where life actually happens. You are here and that matters. You being here matters. You breathing right now matters. You are present has meaning if the world doesn't always show it. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Practicing presents daily. So, how do we live in the moment? Start small. Notice the colors around you. Chew your food slowly. Look someone in the eyes when you speak. Write down what you are grateful for today. Put your phone down when you are walking. Presence is not a destination, it's a practice, and it begins with choice. Conclusion: the moment is enough. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to fix the past. You don't need to control the future. And you need is to be here with your heart open, with your eyes gentle, with your breath steady, because life is happening, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but now, and you are brave enough to repeat. The seasons never stay still. They come and go without asking. Spring follows winter, summer fades into fall, and we just watch it. But if we look closely, we are cha- changing through not all at once, not but slowly, like the quiet shift of a breeze, like petals unfolding, like the frost on fallen leaves. As the seasons change, I too am slowly changing. Chapter 1: The Casture, the Quiet Mist of Winter. Winter taught me silence. It whispered to me in cold winds and still skies. It told me it's okay to pause, to rest, to be still. I used to hate winter for its coldness, but now I understand. It was giving me space to reflect, to look inward, to breathe in the absence noise. Sometimes growth happens in the quiet. Chapter: the promise of spring. Then came spring, soft, shy, and full of color. It reminded me that beginnings don't have to be loud. New things can bloom in silence too. I watched the trees sprout green again, and something in me stirred. Spring reminded me to hope again, to start again, to believe that no matter how bad I've been, life can return. Chapter 3. The furnace of summer. Summer was warm and wild. It asked me to be bold, to read, to rap without reason, to stretch it toward the sun. I danced more, laughed louder, let go of some fears, but summer also reminded me even joy can be overwhelming. Even too much joy can make you close your eyes. So I learned balance, to enjoy warmth without burning out. Chapter 4. The letting go of autumn. Autumn was a lesson in letting go. The trees didn't fight the falling leaves. They let go beautifully, gracefully, without fear. I held on to too much, too many things for too long. Memories, people, versions of myself I'd outgrown. But autumn showed me that release can be beautiful, that sharing is part of becoming, and in loss there's space for something new. Chapter 5. Small changes are still changes. Change doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. In the way I no longer react the same way. In the way I pause before speaking. In the way I run to comfort myself. People often ask, have you changed? And I don't always know how to answer. But inside I feel it, subtle, gentle, real, like a leaf that slowly turns gold. I am changing too. The seasons with me. There are seasons with me. Times when I'm cold and distant. Times when I'm gloomy and full of life. Times when I burn bright. And times when I quietly fade into myself. I used to resist those shifts, try to always be okay, always strong. But now I let myself feel. I let myself be winter, spring, summer, and fall because that's what makes me whole. Chapter 7. Accepting the pace of change. The world moves fast, but real change takes time. Healing is not instant. Growth is not a race. Becoming who you are meant to be is not something you rush. Sometimes the most powerful transformation is the one that takes years, the kind you don't notice until one day you realize you are no longer who you used to be, and that's okay. Chapter 8: Who I am becoming. I'm not who I was a year ago. I'm not who I'll be a year from now. And that's the beauty of it. Every season shapes me. Every change, no matter how small, matters. I'm running to rob the version of me that's still becoming, still unfolding, still discovering who she is. Chapter 9: Nature reflects the soul. When I walk outside and see the falling leaves, the blooming flowers, the golden sunlight, I don't just see nature, I see myself. The world outside mirrors the world within. We are not separate from it, we are part of it. And just like the trees don't apologize for changing, neither should I. Chapter 10: Gentle Courage. To change slowly takes courage. To be soft in a hard world takes strength. To go silently without applause is brave. The world celebrates loud success, but celebrates high evolution. The kind that doesn't need to be seen to be real. Conclusion: becoming right the seasons. So here I am changing gently season by season. I'm no longer trying to rush the process, no longer waiting for one final version of myself to appear. I'm allowing life to shape me as the seasons change. I too am slowly changing, and that's not just enough. It's beautiful. For look, the illusion of grand happiness. For the longest time, I believed happiness was something grand, something like fireworks bursting in the sky, a ripe change event, the dramatic story, a moment of overwhelming joy. But I was wrong. It wasn't until I slowed down, until I started noticing the ordinary, that I realized happiness was never something grand, it was always something small. Chapter 1: The Morning Light. It starts with sunrise slipping through the curtain, the soft glow resting on your pillow, the warmth on your cheek, the silence early morning when the world hasn't fully awakened, a hot cup of coffee in your hand, no applause, no music swelling in the background, just peace. And the peace is happiness. Chapter 2: The Sound of Laughter. not the kind of laughter that fills stadiums, not the one that comes after a big joke on a stage, but the laughter that spills from your lips when your friend said something silly, the giggle you didn't expect, the chuckle during a quiet dinner, the belly laugh on a random Tuesday night. That's happiness, small, soft, real, chapter street of familiar faces. Happiness is always new, sometimes it's all like the pace of someone you've known forever. The smell of your childhood blanket, the voice of your mother calling your name, the way your dog greets you like you've been gone for years, even if it's only been 5 minutes. These are the pieces of happiness you don't notice until you do. Chapter 4, the solitude that feels right home. There are quiet moments when you are alone, not lonely, when you are walking slowly with no destination, when you are lying on the floor just breathing, when you stop trying to chase and simply allow yourself to be. That stillness, that's happiness too. Chapter 5, the tiny winds, waking up on time, crossing one task of your wrist, cooking a meal that tastes just right, finding a coin in your pocket, hearing your favorite song on shuffle. We often ignore these moments, waiting for something bigger, but life is mostly made of tiny wins, and if we learn to celebrate them, we discover we've been winning all along. Chapter 6, the kindness of strangers. A smile from someone you don't know, holding the door open, a compliment you didn't expect, a stranger letting you go first in line. It doesn't make the news. It's not story people will write about, but in your heart it lives right, and right is what happiness feels like. Chapter 7, the days without drama, no crisis, no breaking news, just an ordinary day, breakfast, work, dinner, a show before bed, no tears, no fights, no noise, just a simple day that ends quietly. And that, my friend, in the miracle we often overlook. Chapter 8, the safe places, your favorite chair, the corner cafe you always go to, the room that smells like your favorite candle, a familiar song that feels like home. Happiness is always exciting. Sometimes it's predictable. Sometimes it's repetition that makes us feel safe. And safety is a form of joy. Chapter 9. The moments you don't post or write, we capture the big things, vacations, weddings, achievements, but the moments we never post, cooking with someone we love, crying from rapping, staring at the sky in silence. Those are the moments that often hold most happiness, private, unseen, but unforgettable. Chapter 10. Letting go of the idea of more. We think we need more success, more things, more approval, but happiness often arrives when we stop needing more, when we look at what we already have and whisper, "This is enough." Chapter 11. The quiet re- reassurance. There's a kind of happiness that doesn't shout, that doesn't arrive with a bang, it doesn't demand attention, it just sits beside you. A quiet reassurance, right? The feeling of being loved without needing to prove anything. Chapter 12. Redefining happiness. I used to wait for grand moments, but now I realize I don't need to wait. Happiness is here in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this moment. And once you see that way, you will never chase it again. You just feel it over and over again in the little things. Epilogue. The truth I found. The truth. Happiness was never something grand. It was never about having it all. It was never a destination. It was the way my dog curled up at my feet. It was the smell of rain. It was finishing a book. It was hearing I missed you. I used to miss it because I was looking up, searching the sky for something huge, but all along it was right here at my feet, in my hands, in my breath. Happiness was never something grand. It was something gentle, something true. And now that I see it, I will never stop seeing it. Prologue words that stay. Some days begin heavy, Some mornings feel too quiet, too gray, too hard, and on those days we walk through life wearing invisible ways, but sometimes all it takes is one word, one sentence from someone, anyone, to rip the weight. That's the magic of words. They don't just be silence, they heal, they awaken, they change everything. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Compliment. It was nothing grand, just a simple sentence. You have a really calming presence. I don't know why it hit so deeply. Maybe because I had been feeling anything but calm. Maybe because I thought no one saw me. But in that moment I felt seen, I felt acknowledged, and suddenly the day wasn't so dark. Sometimes the smallest kindness has the biggest echo. Chapter 2. The Stranger's Smile. I was having one of those days, the kind where nothing works, no one listens, and you feel invisible. But then at a cafe, a stranger looked at me and said, "You have beautiful smile, keep using it." And just like that, I smiled, not for them, but for me, because someone reminded me that I still had it in me. Chapter 3. When a friend said, "I get it," I didn't want advice. I didn't need solutions. I just needed someone to risk, and my friend did. They reasoned without interrupting, and when I finally stopped talking, they said, "I get it. That must be really hard." Those 7 words, they were everything: validation, understanding, connection. That's the moment my day changed because I wasn't alone anymore. Chapter 4. The Power of Thank You. I was helping someone at work, just doing what I always do. Nothing special, but before they left, they paused and said, "Thank you for always being patient with me." It wasn't just gratitude, it was recognition, and sometimes that's what we need most, to feel like what we do matters. Those words stayed with me the whole day, maybe longer. Chapter 5. Oh, child honesty. Children have a way of saying things with so much honesty. It slides right through the noise. A little boy once said to me, "You look sad. Do you need a hug?" And before I could reply, he wrapped his arms around me. I didn't know I needed that, but I did. Sometimes love doesn't come from where we accept it, but when it comes, it changes everything. Chapter 6. You are doing great. Those words, so simple, so often overlooked. You are doing great. You heard them from a teacher once. On a day I was ready to quit, I heard them from a co-worker when I was doubting myself, and each time those words were like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Chapter 7 was we reply in our heads, not all was despair. Some stay, some loop in your head long after they are spoken. I believe in you. I missed you. You matter more than you think. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. These words aren't just sentences. They are lifelines, and sometimes they are the difference between surviving and living. Chapter 8. When someone apologizes, it's not easy to hear. I was wrong, I'm sorry. But when someone finally said it to me, on a day I was holding on to anger, everything softened. I didn't even realize how tightly I was holding pain until that one sentence, let it go. Apologize are powerful. They don't erase the past, but they change the future. Chapter 9. The Whisper of Hope. I was at my lowest, burned out, empty, done, but someone quietly said to me, I know it feels impossible right now, but it won't always feel this way. They didn't promise a miracle, they just offered truth, and that truth became a seed. Hope doesn't shout, it whispers, and sometimes that whisper is all you need to keep going. Chapter 10. Rediscovering myself through words. I miss the old you, the one hurt, but it also woke me up because I realized so did I. And from that moment, I began to find my way back. Words can stay, but some of them force you to remember who you really are. Chapter 11. The Gift of Listening. Sometimes the most powerful thing someone can say is nothing at all, just silence, nods, eyes that don't look away. I'm here. You don't have to say anything because presence is a language too, and one day when I had no words, someone's quiet presence spoke volumes. Chapter 12, the sentence that still carries me. No matter what happens, I'm proud of you. I heard this once, and I've never forgotten it. Through every failure, every bad days, every tear, that sentence returns because someone believed me even when I didn't believe in myself. That one sentence has carried me farther than they'll ever know. Epilogue. Be the one who says it. If someone's words can change your day, then your words can change someone else's. So say it. Tell them they are doing well. Tell them you see their effort. Tell them they make a difference. You never know, your one sentence might be the one they reply forever. Prologue. A long held silence. I had held it in for so long. Tears, emotions, memories, all neatly folded and tucked away in corners of my heart. No one could see. I told myself I had to be strong. That crying was weakness. That silence was control. But there came a day, a windy, trembling, honest day, when I couldn't hold it anymore, and that was the day I truly began to hear. Chapter 1. The stillness before the storm. It had been quiet for days, not just outside, but inside me, like the world had pressed pause. I walked, I spoke, but I wasn't really there. There was a storm brewing, and I was trying to ignore it, but the wind was coming. I could feel it in my chest. I just didn't know when it would break me. Chapter 2. The wind came gently first. It started as breeze, a whisper on my skin, and I thought maybe it would pass like every other time. But this wind was different. It was trying to pass me. It was trying to reach me, trying to stir something in me that I had buried deep. Chapter 3. Memories carried in the wind. As the wind picked up, so did my memories. moments I had forgotten or pretend to forget came rushing back. I laughed, I missed, I goodbye, I never said. A vision of me I lost somewhere between duty and disappointment. Each gust of wind peeled back a layer of silence. Chapter 4. The day I couldn't pretend anymore. I was walking through the park. It was gray and the trees were dancing wildly. The world felt loud, but I felt hollow. And then it happened. It a rip brushed my cheek. A child laughter echoed from far away. And just like that, the dam broke. I stopped working, I stopped pretending, and I cried. Chapter 5. Crying in public and not caring. People walked past me, some looked, some didn't, but for the first time, I didn't care what they saw. I wasn't ashamed, I wasn't hiding, I was human, and I was hurting, and the wind held me in a way that felt strangely kind. Chapter 6. Tears I didn't know I had. I cried for things I thought I had moved on from. I cried for people I had forgiven but still missed. I cried for the me who had been strong for too long. And I cried for no reason at all, which might have been the most honest cry ever. Chapter 7. The language of the wind. The wind, it was just the weather, it was poetry, it was presence. It lapped around me, not to chill me, but to remind me that something bigger was holding me. Maybe the universe knew I needed help letting go, so it sent the wind. Chapter 8. The first breath after the cry. There's something sacred about the first breath after you finish crying. It's just air. It's not just air. It's release. It's space. It's survival. That day I took the breath and in it I felt right there I had in years. Chapter 9. Healing doesn't happen in silence alone. I thought time would heal me. I thought if I stayed quiet, the pain would fade. But time doesn't erase what we hide. It only buries it deeper. It was until I let the wind find me, until I let my heart speak through tears, that healing began. Chapter 10. When crime becomes courage, we are taught to be strong, to hold it together, to smile through it all. But crying isn't weakness, it's release, it's truth, it's bravery in its lowest form. And that day in the wind, I was bravest I had ever been. Chapter 11. I didn't know I needed to be held. The wind lapped around me like arms that knew how long I'd been waiting to fall apart. I didn't need answers. I didn't need solutions. I just needed to feel, to collapse into myself, to remember I'm not made of stone. Chapter 12. What the wind taught me. The crying does mean I'm broken. The showing pain is a form of power. The healing starts the moment I stop hiding. And most of all, the life, like the wind, is meant to move through those, not stay stuck inside. Epilogue. The wind still visits me every now and then. The wind returns, and when it does, I stop, I listen, I remember, and sometimes, just for a moment, I let myself cry again, not from pain, but from grace, because I survived, because I'm still here, because I let the wind carry me when I couldn't carry myself.